meditation.
What you got to say about how to eat the liver?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam. I can hear you now.
Okay, great. We had a little technical difficulty here. So, assalamu alaikum, family, peace, healing, and light, and welcome back to another episode of Healing with Angelica's podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And if you are new to the show, welcome, 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 beautiful souls. I'm so looking forward to today's episode. But before we get started, please be sure to share, like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast. Our podcast is every other Thursday at 1 p.m. So be sure again to share, like, follow, and subscribe so you won't miss out on any upcoming episodes on any of your favorite podcast station. Closing the Gap broadcast on YouTube and Facebook, Knowledge for Life on YouTube and Facebook, and of course, Healing with Angelica on Facebook and YouTube to help spread the light of healing to others in need. Also, if you are ready to start your healing journey and don't know where to start, Healing with Angelica is here to assist you with our one-on-one healing session today by texting the word HEAL to 937-313-2466. Also, a reminder that from now till the goal is reach of $1,000, you can support Healing with Angelica today by giving a charitable donation to our beloved minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the impeccable work he has done for us and the Aboriginal people of the world by texting the word SD26 to 937-313-2466. Again, we thank you. Awesome. Praise be to Allah. So on today's episode, we have an amazing guest joining us today, our brother, Student Minister Sultan Z, as we'll be discussing today's topic, the importance of a proper view of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Brother Sultan, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me again. How are you?
I'm doing well, my sister. I'm glad to be on the show. I thank you for inviting me, and I pray that you're doing well also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And for those who may not know who you are, I will share a brief bio. So Brother Sultan Z is the student minister of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the Grand Rapids area of Michigan over the newly reestablished Muhammad Mosque number 61. Serving in the ministry for nearly 9 years, he also serves as a mentor, life coach, and community advocate for the youth in his area. He is a husband and father of 3, holding a master's degree in urban, community, and regional planning. Love that. All right. Now let's get started on today's episode, the importance of a proper view of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. And please, I ask this all the time. Please do not hesitate to put any questions you may have for our guests in the comment section below. So today we're honored again to have our brother Student Minister Sultan Z Muhammad, a dedicated servant and student in the mission of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, under the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Together we'll explore the importance of developing a proper perspective of Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, why it matters, how misconceptions arise, and the power of truth in shaping our future. So let's get started. Let's go to the question. So, and again, like I said, if you guys have any question, please put it in the comment section below. So to start this off, I would like to ask, what does it mean to have a proper view of Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam?
Yes, thank you. Well, I think in any person having a view of somebody, we have to acknowledge that you can have many views of a person, and our view or our perception of that person is going to determine how we relate to them. So if we are going to have a view that's proper, then it would have to be a view that would allow us to properly relate to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and our Nation of Islam, and to relate properly to the minister, as he's called by many people, the minister. When you understand what that word means, at its root, it means a servant. He's the servant. He's acknowledged as the servant, not just by members of the nation, but people all over the world. When you say the minister, they know who you're talking about. So if we're going to relate properly to the servant, then it would have to be in a way that allows him to serve us the way that God made him and fashioned him to serve us. And really, as we look at the way that he's worked over these last 70 years, his service is to lift the people mentally, spiritually, morally. He's to lift us socially and ultimately economically as well, in every way. But how can we relate to him in a way that will allow him to do that? We have to have a view of him that is proper, one that allows us to see him for who he is beyond all of the names that I put out there about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, all of the labels. We have to have a view of him from God's perspective. We have to have a view of him from Scripture. We have to have a view of him in light of history, and a view of him that we are constantly working to refine, because a man of that magnitude, you have to have the proper level of respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
I say that in the root meaning of that word, and respectare in the Latin means to look. You have glasses, I have glasses, they're spectacles. They allow you to see, so when you really respect somebody, you look at them again, and you might have saw them clearly once, but look again, you might see them even clearer. Look again, you might see them even better than you did before. So I think to properly see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the nation, or to have a proper view, you have to have one where you're seeking to understand what God has put in our midst.
I love that. I love that. Seeking to understand. Wow. And that actually brings me to my next question. When we think about having that proper view and those that may not have a proper view, not even understanding, I guess you can say, as to why must one have a proper view. And most of it is kind of just understanding that you must seek an understanding, like you just stated, in order to have that proper view. But next question is, why do you believe so many misconceptions exist about the Nation of Islam?
Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, truth hurts the guilty. And those that are uncovered by the truth that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the minister lift up, that we study in the Nation of Islam, the guilty party don't like the truth. And so they've spread a lot of falsehood about the truth. And the falsehood has been spread so far that many people hear the false narrative about the nation long before they get a chance to come and see and listen for themselves. As I was beginning to study for myself as a young man, there were people around who had all kind of negative things to say about the teachings and about the nation. But thank Allah, for me, it just made me go closer to find out if it is the truth. It
Mm-hmm.
made me and drove me more to study and to see for myself. And there are some of our people that are like that, but the guilty party bank on most people not using their own intelligence, using the beauty of their own brain and their own 14 billion brain cells to go and see if it is what people say. We allow other people to think for us. And that's what the guilty party is banking on, that most of the people will hear the names and the labels that are hurled at the Nation of Islam. Oh, it's a hate group. Oh, it's a cult. Oh, it's this. It's not true Islam. And most people, will just take that and say, well, I heard it's not good, and they'll go the other way. But that is not working so well nowadays. People are beginning to wake up, and through social media and platforms like you have, the word is reaching people right in their pocket or wherever they might be, and people are getting a chance to hear for themselves. But the misconceptions are spread as wide as possible to stop people from hearing what the Nation of Islam is offering to our people. Because once people get a chance to experience it for themselves, they see, oh, this is nothing like what they said. And they to see, wow, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been waiting to find. This is exactly what my soul is longing for. And they know that once people come and they really get a chance to experience it, you can't lie to them anymore. So they do all they can to try to cover people's eyes and keep them away from that which would save their life and free them from the grip of the guilty party, the wicked 10% that lead the people in the wrong direction.
I love that so much, and I can bear witness to that. Even hearing about the Nation of Islam, me being still new in the game, a lot of negative perspective. Of course, the main one is we killed Malcolm and all this. I'm like, well, it just, again, it drew me closer to know, like, okay, y'all saying all this, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I wasn't there when he was in his younger stage, right? He's older now, beautiful, beautiful, of course. And just seeing it, like being able to read his words, read some of his books, I can definitely vouch for Closing the Gap. That book actually gave me a real, what they say, a real understanding of who he is and why God has him in the space that he has him in. So I truly believe, it's kind of like we don't have to convince anyone. Truth is truth.
That's right.
I truly believe that once someone hear it, when all else fails, that's where they'll come back to Islam, you know?
That's right.
And if you don't mind just breaking down just how, because there's also this thing with Islam being a religion rather than just a way of life. Do you mind just tapping into that a little bit?
Of course, of course. No, my sister, you're on point. That the Holy Quran, it says in this book that Allah gave us Islam as a religion, and that is to say, just like, in the Black community, we use a lot of stuff, when you don't have all the money that you need, you might have to use something outside of its original purpose. Maybe somebody might have to use a blanket as a window, or something to cover up the window. They might have to use something, a fork as a spoon. If I don't have a spoon, it's not the spoon, but I'm using it as that. And Allah gave us Islam as a religion. It is not a religion. It is a complete way of life. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it's a world. It involves everything that a world would have: education, politics, medicine, business, and industry. It implies all aspects of our life and offers us guidance for every aspect of our life. But it has to be given as a religion in a world of religions. In our prayer, we say at the fourth verse of Al-Fatiha, it says that the God is Maliki Yawmiddin. We say it means master of the day of judgment, but also means master of the day of religion. time where there's so many different religions, God offers us a way of life, but has to give it distinction. So we say our way is Islam, but it's really not religion like this world takes religion. You know, we show up someplace and dress nice and act and do rituals for a day. If it stays that way, it's really not real. But we need
Mm.
something that will guide us when we go home and be with our families, when we eat, when we dress, when we go to work. And Islam covers every aspect of our life. And so that's the beauty of what God has given us. It's really far beyond just a religion, but it does do what religion is intended to do, which is
Mm.
to reconnect. You know, that's what religion means. You know, religion comes from the root word in Latin ligare, which means to attach or to bind something. So Islam definitely reattaches us to God, rebinds us, reconnects us to our source that we've been taken from in this Hells of North America. It heals us, as your podcast suggests, and brings us back where we belong.
Mm. Praise be to Allah, and I can bear witness to that. I can honestly say it wouldn't be healing with Angelica if it wasn't for the Nation of Islam and those powerful teachings that woke me up. Like, whoa, like
Praise be to Allah.
it's it's so much I can say to bear witness to that. So yes, thank you so much for that. That brings me to my next question. I really love how you said that. Just to go back real quick, I write notes, you guys. You guys know this. So you said Islam is does want religion, isn't. I'm sorry, Islam is not just a religion, and you spoke about how Islam is basically realigning you to source and understand that that's our final return is source. We have to stay in connection with him.
Mm-hmm.
So Islam keep us in connection to God, you know. So praise be to Allah.
Absolutely.
I would like to know from your perspective, right? What has been ministers, I'm sorry, from your perspective, what has Minister Farrakhan's greatest impact been for you in Black America?
The greatest impact for Black America is, you know, to me, that he's offering Black people another chance to receive the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and to respond to him properly. You know, the honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was raised up among us to lead, teach, and guide us out of this wretched condition that our people are in. And he did that for 44 years. But as it was written, there would come a time when he would be taken from among the people, where he would depart from among the people to be with Master Farad Muhammad. And if it were not for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan standing up in 1977 to rebuild the nation, after Brother Jabril came by his side, you know, we would not be sitting here talking right now. We would not be lifting up the name of the Nation of Islam or the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because those in power sought to get rid of the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad forever. They got rid of the flag. They got rid of all of our books. And at a certain point, the nation looked like it was going to be gone forever from the consciousness of our people. But Allah, in raising up the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, has given us a second chance. And as he said, a last chance to heed the final call. You know, so the biggest impact is that he's allowing us another opportunity to be redeemed from this condition. And there's so many things within that, but you know, just the fact that the teachings is present among us, that his voice of guidance has been among us, is written of him in the scripture as the comforter. And you know, it's nothing like when things break out, people want to know what the minister got to say
Yeah.
about things. People want to know what's the minister saying. And we're so used to hearing him as a comfort to Black people. When they hear the minister speak, they know the Father over the house has spoken, and he's given guidance for many beyond those who say they're in the Nation of Islam. So for all of these years, he's a comforter for us. He's a guide for us, a father. And you know, his impact, I think, will be measured for many, many years to come in all the different areas, all the young boys and girls who didn't have a father in their home. But hearing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he was more of a father to brothers like me and others whose father wasn't around. He was able to reach through the screen and be a father for so many. He was able to reach through a cassette tape and be a father for so many. And to show young men what it means to be a man, show the young women what kind of husband they should look for in their life, what kind of man should they look to be the father of their children, so that they can begin to rebuild the family. I mean, look at the communities that have been uplifted by the brothers and the nation being there because of the minister's stance. I mean, you can't really measure his impact, but just the fact that he lifted up the name of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when they tried to wipe him out of history, that alone is enough of an impact for generations to come, really forever.
I love it. I love it. And again, I can bear witness. I can bear witness all day.
Go ahead, sister.
Listen, like honestly, like you stated that father figure, and by the grace of Allah, I had my stepfather around. However, I always wanted to know about my biological father. My biological father wasn't around, and I always felt like something was missing. Right? There's something that I believe that young women are naturally supposed to get from men, especially their fathers, right? And that was missing in my life. So being able to come in contact with the teachings, allowing Master Father Muhammad to intervene in my affairs, because listen, grateful that he did that, because I can definitely say like that saved my life, because I was able to understand my purpose. I think that's really, really a thing that we all have to know. What is your purpose? We don't know why we're here.
That's
we
right.
we just believe that we exist just to get up, to go to work, and just to die old or young, for some of us, right? But being able to just be connected back to feel like my origin, what's natural for me,
That's right.
really woke me up to who I was and my value as a woman. Shout out to the MGT class. So right to a lot. I love that.
Shout out to the MGT. And just to that point, my sister, I was going to play basketball. Had my whole life just trying to put a ball in a basket. And I was pretty good. But when I started to really hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it helped me see my own life purpose, like you said, so far beyond sport and play and what this world tells us that we should be. When you begin to get a vision of what you really are born to be, and your life starts to have meaning, and you start waking up with a sense of purpose and drive. I mean, you can't put a price on that. You can't measure that. And for the minister's voice to be the spark for so many Black and brown, red, yellow, and even some white who hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan are ignited to a purposeful life. I mean, that impact you can't measure. So I appreciate you lifting that up, sister.
Absolutely. Like there's nothing that can just impact that. Like that is that. Like there it is. Praise to a lie. I want to get into just because as regardless of what opinions may be about the minister, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Nation of Islam, one thing that you can see as a visual is that them people are disciplined. Them people look nice, and honestly, that is that attracted me. Like, all everybody look nice. They opening doors.
That's
Like,
right.
what type of people are they? So do you mind just kind of just going in as to how does these teachings and being in a nation shape us into being men and women of discipline?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Well, that's the most impressionable thing at the beginning of an interaction with a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The minister put it like this. He said that Jesus said that I am the way, the truth, and the life. He said the order of that is important. It's not truth first. He said it's way first. Way meaning manner, methodology. Way meaning how you do something. And so we have the truth through this teaching. And many people hear the truth of the teachings and they love it. And you hear people reciting it in the streets who might not be a part of the nation, but it's something about those who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his minister that learn the way and the truth, and that leads them to live the life. And it's the way of the believer that our way of life is discipline. That's what the disciples are supposed to be with Jesus, those who discipline their lives to his teaching. You see, Jesus would feed a lot of people by the thousands with fish and bread, but it was only 12 disciples. I mean, it's only a few who would be willing to submit to the discipline, but those who submit to the discipline learn the way of the man. And really, the way of the man is the key. That's the way Prophet Muhammad was able to gain victory in the time of the early Muslims 1400 years ago. His way was so divine from the God that after even his enemies would disrespect him, he would repel evil with that which is best, as the Holy Quran says, and the people would say, "What manner of man is this?" And and after a while, his manner was able to lower their guard so he could offer them the truth, and then they could come into the life of Islam. And that's our way. Our discipline and the way that we are taught, that strengthens us so that the discipline becomes easy. People think, it's hard and I can't live like you all because it's just too much discipline. But when you learn the truth and you start to love yourself and you start to heal, as your podcast says, you start to love the discipline. The minister said the black man and woman, he loves discipline, and it fits you like a tailored garment or a tailored suit, and you want to live a life that shows your own dignity and your self-respect, and that which will make you to be the beautiful human being that you are. So the discipline of the believer is what really makes us stand apart. And when people are hard to hear the truth, but they see that disciplined way of the believer, and they see the way you walk, the way you carry yourself, after a while, they say, Farrakhan can't be that bad, because look at that brother, look at that sister, look at how they turn their life around, look at how they cleaned up, look at the way they move. Farrakhan can't be that bad. And eventually, after a while, they say, well, what manner of man is this? And they come here for themselves. And then they hear the truth. And then they are ignited into life. So, it's the discipline really is the key. And it really is, as the minister said, he said in one message, the greater the discipline, the greater the success. And I can bear witness. The more that I have submitted to the discipline of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the more successful God is blessing me to be. And it's only because we see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in front of us as a wonderful example. He's not just talking it, he's the example of what that discipline and that way can do for your life.
Break it down. Woo! Praise be
Crazy.
to Allah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And that just make me think about just look what he has produced. This is what bear fruit. What
Yes.
And understanding that when you want to know if something works, right? A lot of people say, just try Islam, try the Nation of Islam for 30 days. Like, just be disciplined for a day, like for 30 days. Like, try our way and see if it works for you. Okay. And when you understand that it speaks for itself, where you can see the actual fruit of the labor, what is produced after one has incorporated it, know that this must be something that works.
That's right.
When a product works, right?
That's right.
There's so many of us that's in a nation, so many of us that has changed our life and that has actually healed from the teachings. By the grace of Allah, I was able to self-correct my thyroid issue just by taking up How to Eat to Live.
Praise be to God.
So understanding that everything that we see that comes from the nation, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is bearing witness from what he has produced from us men and women, FOY and MGT.
That's
So,
right.
Lord, praise be to
No, that's
Allah.
an excellent point, my sister. And I like what you said about trying it, because many people are afraid to even try. But if you would be willing to just try, I can remember when I first started trying, I mean, really trying, I said, it's better to go to sleep feeling good about yourself than to worry about trying to feel good all the time. You know what I mean? To begin to feel good about the life that you're living, feeling good about the way you carry yourself. That's infinitely better than trying to chase pleasure and feel good. And when we get a chance to try it out, then you know that it's the truth. You know that this is what you've been looking for, even though it might be a little fear at first, but you got to try it out for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just try it out. Me and Brother Sultan letting you guys just try it out. You won't nothing happen
That's
but
right.
a better life,
That's it.
peace of mind.
That's
Whew,
right.
peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Can't put a price on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Praise be to Allah. And if you guys are enjoying this episode just as well as I am, please, 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 please show your support today. This show has been so impactful already. I'm loving it. But again, show your support today by texting the word donate to 937-313-2466. Also, again, all donations will be toward, again, our annual Savers Day gift 2026 to show our love and appreciation to the man that didn't just aid in the saving of my life, but also the lives of many others. I love you all. Now let's get back to today's episode, the importance of a proper view of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. All right, so that brings me to my next question here for you. It's so many questions that just popped up in my mind as we're speaking. You guys, if you got any questions, please put it in the comment section below. I truly believe our brother can sufficiently answer your question if you have any questions about the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But it takes me to something that is really, really heavy. Unfortunately, we have a lot of propaganda.
Absolutely.
And understanding that with the media and propaganda, it can really taint the view of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and also the Nation of Islam. So my question here is for you is it's going to go into two questions, but we're going to do one. So right now, what role does the media play in distorting or shaping public's opinion about Minister Farrakhan?
Well, the media, is not our friend in most cases. It's controlled by people who have a certain agenda in mind, and it's to shape the minds of the people to continue the masses operating according to this world's program. That's not a righteous world. That is very clearly satanic. And when you have satanic forces in control of what is known as mainstream media, the mainstream media outlets, then anybody who comes up to offer the truth that busts up falsehood, then the media, what it works to do is to shape the people's minds against that man, or just to totally ignore that man. There was a time when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was being interviewed by some of the heavyweights of the mainstream media industry. He was interviewed by Barbara Walters at the Palace in Chicago. He was interviewed by other big names. His name is escaping me. I can see his face. Uh, but suffice it to say, he's been interviewed by so many in the early stages, and eventually they saw that the minister could not be handled by these big names on TV. They saw they were interviewing him thinking they could box the minister into a corner, not knowing he's the champion of the world. He's the champion of truth. So he got out the corner and he would knock them out with the truth. He handled Mike Wallace. he handled the other man with the show. But all of them, they did their best. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan showed them that, that whom God raises up, TV cannot destroy. So it was that they could do. If TV had made him, then TV could have destroyed him. But he's a man that's made by God. So TV, they did their best to try to tear him down. But the more they did that, they found out the arenas all over America are filling up 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. In Atlanta in 1992, 60,000. I mean, and then you have the Million Man March. They were saying the more we try to make this man look bad on television, the more people want to hear him. So a certain point, they decided. I see somebody put Phil Donahue. That's who I was thinking about, because it was on Phil Donahue where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan just tore it up, and so many people came to hear and came to follow the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan after that presentation. So they were able to see that this don't work. And so the campaign became a campaign of silence. We're gonna act like the minister just don't exist because he whooped us way too many times. And so they turned the cameras away from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And anytime they do put something out about him, they put that ugly label on him of anti-Semite, that false label, because the minister has never been an anti-Semite. He has only spoken the truth. And when you look at the way the media has done the minister, they've repeated the lies so many times that people have accepted it. Many, not all, many have accepted it as a fact, calling him the number one anti-Semite in America and anti everything. Everything in the book they call him anti. But for many of us, he's been no anti. He's been like an uncle. He's been like a father. And when we come to hear him, we see the media don't know what they're talking about. But we can never expect, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, somebody who did not treat you right to teach you right. So the media does what what they're supposed to do. They're the media of this world. They want people to think bad of the man that has come to save them. But with podcasts like yours and the Final Call newspaper and all the social media accounts, the YouTube channels, the truth is getting out there anyway. And so they don't have the grip that they used to have on the minds of the people. And people are waking up now to see that, maybe the minister's been right all along, because he has.
Oh, yes, he has. Praise be to Allah. He's a champion, undefeated champ.
Undefeated.
And that's the reason why they are taking him. They took him away from social media platforms and all of these different things, so we won't hear it, right? But again, by the grace of Allah, Healing with Angelica and other beautiful platforms, bringing light to the teaching, and that's just being an example. You can go out and people can look at you and just be like, they know where you from, who you come from. Being that example, beautifully dressed, FOY bow tie, the way, again, our mannerism, right? So regardless of how much they want to extort him, how much they want to hide him, hide the teachings, again, like thinking about this man and how he's been here, as long as he has in top of the teachings, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching, how I did not know any of this until I joined the nation, right? Until life was lifing.
Come
Then
on now.
I heard the call. I heard that final call, So praise be to Allah. I have another question here, and it actually goes into a question that I see that a brother had down here, but I'm going to let him say this question because it kind of ties into my next question. Okay, we have here Daniel E. Muhammad. He asks, how can the believers handle the older people who believe the propaganda of the media, who will sway the young people away?
Well, handling our elders, and first and foremost has to be done with respect, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us to respect those on whose shoulders we stand. even if we don't agree with their position 100%, even if we don't necessarily ascribe to their views. We have to handle the elders in our community with the respect that they are due, but at the same time, try to represent to them what they misunderstand.
Mm.
Because they might not understand the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan because so much has been put on his name. But the thing that we can do is be witness bearers to his character and to his work and to his beauty. And the greatest bearing of witness that we can have is by the way we live our lives.
Mm.
And so I often tell people, I say I might give lectures, but the best lecture that really can be given is the way you live your life. Words are wonderful. Words have raised us up. But when people see the beauty of the way that you live your life, then they will have to bear witness at a certain point that, well, the minister can't be all of that because the way that your life has been turned around, the way my life has been turned around, the way others' lives are turned around, the fruit bears witness to the tree. So they've done a lot to make the tree look bad, the tree of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, but we the fruit of Islam, and that includes the sisters. That helps the older people to see if we can appeal to them in a good and respectful voice, in a good and loving way, and
Mm.
begin to help them to see. As I've had this experience myself, some of the elder people in our community, you wear them down over time with love. You wear them down over time with the respect, and you show them that this comes from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And you respectfully, gently guide them to the truth. And after a while, they'll tell their children or the young people under their charge, you need to go with him. You need to go with her and get some of what she got, and they might be hesitant. They might be slow to turn because that's written in the scriptures that it was the elders that fought Moses and Aaron. They wanted to stay with Pharaoh, and so the minister has said many times, he said, you elders, you Pharaoh's generation, and some of you just going to die out in the wilderness, so there's a aspect of it that may be you won't always be able to win them over, but the only way that we can win any of our people is the way of the Messiah that opens them up to the truth, that they can come into the life. And if you're gonna have a chance with our elders, we got to come with respect and follow the minister's example. I mean, the minister opens up the hearts of the people when they are finally in his presence. They might have hated him before, but after they met him and walked away, their whole countenance is changed. And so the more we embody his spirit, then everywhere we go, we will open people's hearts up to the truth if we follow his way.
I love it. I love it. You said the best lecture is the way you live your life. Whew. Bear witness to that. You guys are enjoying this episode. Put the fire emojis in the comment section because my brother is teaching by the grace of Allah. Praise be to Allah. I love it. I love it. I see here we had another question here. Brother Carvelis Seller. I can't see the question anymore, but I did write it down. So he just asked, do you mind discussing about how grace talks about how grace being over?
Yes. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that this world of the white race's rule, it was given 6,000 years. At the end of that time, God's judgment would bring that rule to an end. However, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said grace would be given to the world to allow the white man the opportunity to heed the warning and to give justice to the black man and woman of America. And it would give us time, grace, to heed the call and to turn from our wicked ways, turn from following the made man, and turn back to Allah. If we take that time period, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that grace, he said that grace would be given to this world 60 years, not to exceed 70. If we take a measure of where we are in history, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we were brought here to the shores of America, not in 1619. He said there was 64 years of hidden history that we were broken down from being a proud African people and made slaves. And so if you take 64 years back from 1619, we came here in 1555.
Mm.
And when you look in the scripture, it says that the sentence that had been ordained for us by God to serve would be 400 years. He said that he said that his seed would be in a land that is not theirs, and they would serve that nation and be afflicted for 400 years. Well, if we take 400 years, that is in Genesis from 1555, it brings us to 1955. That's the same year that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan came into the Nation of Islam. That's the year he came and he sat in the balcony at Savior's Day 1955 and was critiquing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's English. And he said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad looked up in the balcony and said, I did not get to go to school to get that mighty fine education you got. When I got to the school doors, the doors were closing. He says, so don't pay no attention to how I'm saying it. You pay attention to what I'm saying. And then you take it and put it in that fine language that you know. Only try to understand what I'm saying. Well, the minister was then given his assignment on day one. Take the message, put it in a fine language. Moses is praying for a helper, and he asked the God to loose the knot in his tongue that they may understand my speech. Well, that's grace. That means the truth has come, but the God is going to make it even clearer through this man. He's going to make the truth even more easy to understand. And so this year, 2025, just to speed this up, is 70 years from the time that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan walked through the doors and joined the Nation of Islam. So the minister has been telling us for a while that it's the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's the end of the end. But I should say that, even without all of that, the bearing of witness that grace is up is that the minister is not speaking right now. After Savior's Day 2024, he said, and I was blessed to speak with him a few months after that message. He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me to be quiet. He said, come and sit down at my right hand and watch. That's what I gave you to say on Savior's Day. Unfold and be made manifest. Well, that's what's happening before our eyes right now. The minister is not speaking, but everything he said is happening right before our very eyes. And even more so, not only is everything he said happening right before our very eyes, but the vision that he was given, the vision-like experience, more than a vision, that he had in 1985. We're running up now on the 40th anniversary of that on September 17th. And 40 represents completion. 40 weeks of a pregnancy represents full term. And so we're coming full circle now. 70 years of the gracious work and labor of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And now 40 years since the minister was taken up on that wheel and told about a war that would be fought on two fronts. As the minister said, he came to understand. And right now we see the war brewing in the Middle East, and we see what's coming into the major cities of America from the top. So it's all coming full circle right now. It's, so grace, sweet grace, it appears to be coming to an end.
Wow, so beautiful. Praise be to Allah. It takes me to, and I'm not going to say this verbatim, but I know that you may know. I think it's something probably in the Bible where they stated that if a man, and you got to help me out with this because I want to bring light to this. When a man come in and basically say who he is and then it doesn't come to pass. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, ma'am. And it talks about a way to know that a prophet is among you. If the man speaks and what he says doesn't come to pass, then you don't have to worry about him. But if the man speaks and what he says comes to pass, then know that God has raised one from among you.
Thank you for that. Praise be to Allah. And that seals that.
That's
Because
right.
the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is exactly what he said he is.
That's
Right.
right. And I like that language, my sister, if I may, that you said it seals it. And it's written in Daniel in the 9th chapter. It says that 70 weeks are determined for the people. And a certain work is to be done in that 70 weeks. And it really represents years, 70 years. And one of the things that is to be done in that time is to seal up the vision, it says. Seal it up. And so it's the vision is getting sealed up right now, right before our very eyes. The people are coming to see the minister has not been crazy these 40 years. He said he heard his teacher, and everything his teacher told him is bearing fruit right before our very eyes. Everything right before our very eyes is sealed.
Mm, mm, mm. Oh, praise be to Allah. Thank you so much for that. I love that. I want to get into and this is I want to say this is more personal for those that may not be in the nation of Islam. However, is took upon, I guess, the teachings, right? Listen to the minister. What are your thoughts on those who may not want to join, however, still want to take on the teachings and listen to the minister?
Well, I would say you already are a part of your nation. You really don't join your nation. You
Yeah.
are born a member of your nation. So if you say, well, I don't want to get registered right now, that's fine. There's no compulsion in Islam. But I always tell whoever that is, continue to hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, get the literature of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam, and take the knowledge that is being offered to us, because it's a superior knowledge. It's a superior wisdom and understanding that no matter where you are in life, it will make you stronger. As the minister has often said, if you want to stay in the church, stay in the church, but get strong in the church and make the church what it is meant to be. If wherever you are in life, you cannot lose by studying the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It will only strengthen you and make you who you are really born to be. And so the minister has never, as he said, been in the business of converting people. He said, we don't need to be converted. You already are the righteous. And what
Mm,
label you call yourself, that's your thing. But if you keep learning the truth, you're going to become what you're born to be, which is a God. And ultimately, the minister said, in the end, he said, all of the labels that have caused all this division are going to be done away with in the end anyway.
mm,
So I would tell whoever is not necessarily ready to keep studying, keep listening, keep reading. And the more you do that, the happier you'll be, the stronger you'll be. And, you know, Allah has something for you to do wherever you are.
absolutely, absolutely. Praise be to Allah. That's a lot of people's answer for those that have came to me and stated that they weren't ready. And I say this a lot too. There's no compulsion in religion. There's no compulsion, and just understanding that you want people to want it for themselves. You
That's right.
know. Um, Especially when it comes to this. And once people understand what this is, understand that we are just going back to our true nature, then
That's
they'll
right.
see that, this is where I needed to be all along. I
That's right.
usually, by the grace of Allah, I was able to go to Last Savior's Day and be able to watch the graduates. And I remember when I came in, the sisters said, "Welcome home."
That's right.
And I was like, wow, that meant so much. Welcome home. And I say that because it's a lot of us that are out here and don't feel like we actually have a home, or don't feel wanted, or don't feel valued.
That's right.
But when you come into the nation and you come into exactly what it is that has been here all along, your home. It's here, right? So praise be to Allah.
That's right, and that's the key. You're not going to some strange religion. You're coming home to be yourself. And I would say to anybody who's not ready, you just keep on learning. The minister said, just keep on teaching. And those of us who have people in our family like that, don't get frustrated with them. As the minister said to me once, he said, some people will never be what you want them to be when you want them to be it. Just period, just like that. Then and that's not going to be on your time, So we want to keep on offering the truth to our people wherever they might be, and Allah is going to put us all where we need to be at the right time.
Trusting in Him.
That's
Allah. So I want to end today's show with this question. Please elaborate on this. If listeners and audience could take away one thing about Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, what should it be?
Well, the one thing that is most important, as I see it, is that the minister has been raised up and this nation has been raised up for our salvation. Raised up for us to be saved by the real definition of that word. When you have somebody who's saved, you say somebody saved my life. That means that I was in a condition where I couldn't help myself. I couldn't get myself out of it. Therefore, I needed somebody to come save me. I'm hanging off the cliff. I can't get up by myself. Somebody with strength comes and pulls me off the cliff. Then that one saved my life, because otherwise I was out of here. That's the condition that we are in as a people. All of our time in America has proven our inability to save ourselves. We've marched, we've voted, we've sung and danced and done everything that we could, but we say Islam comes after all else fails. And after we in 2025 have tried our own way, why not try the way of God? Why not try the way of complete submission to the will of God? That's all Islam means. You don't get past the Arabic and just keep it in English. It means to be righteous. It means to be upright. We can't do that without the truth. The minister is the man that God has raised up from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with the heart and the strength and the courage to tell the truth regardless of cost, because of his love for us, because of the love that permeates through him from the two that back him up. Then we have a chance to receive a pure drink of the truth, that we can be grown up in our righteous nature to where we can be the righteous people that we are born to be. We righteous by nature, but everything else by circumstance. So the nation and the minister represent the vessel that God has raised up for us to come back to ourselves, to make it easier. I don't say make it easy, but make it easier, because we have guidance, we have structure, we have support. We got the best teacher in the world to make it plain. You got a brotherhood and a sisterhood. So you got friends to help you to stay right when you're getting weak. Not a buddyhood, but a brotherhood that you can lean on those who will help you to stay up. So you can begin to have a social life that doesn't take you away from your spiritual life. We have in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, we have that which will set us free. And so I would say, yeah, I know that's more than one thing, but it is all under the umbrella of salvation, and that's what I wanted to say, is that the thing that we must know, that he represents, the minister. He represents our salvation. I just got to say it straight like that. And the more you listen to him, the easier that is to understand that, wow, God has really raised one for us.
Woo, praise be to Allah. Woo. Islam comes after all has failed.
That's right.
And that looks different for a lot of us, depending on where we're at in our lives. And I remember calling out for God in a point in my life, wanting to get closer to him. And in that, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I was calling. But I know that months later, he introduced me to the Nation of Islam. So he heard my prayer.
That's right.
And in knowing that and understanding that, just to think about just the way that I lived my life before joining, how selfish I was, uh, even morally, just to myself, selfish and not loving myself because I didn't know myself, and that's one thing that I love about the nation. They teach us about who we truly are. Who are you, black man, black woman? So, whew, praise be to Allah.
That's
Thank
right, sister. And thank you for that. And, in your testimony, I hope everybody hears that, sometimes the things we go through that take us down. The minister said, down is not down, it's preparation for up.
you.
And sometimes that's exactly where Allah wants us before we pray a sincere prayer, that He
Mhm.
can come and intervene
Mm.
and get us out of that condition. So, it was the same for me and many of us. I say to all those who might watch the interview that are in that state and condition, don't worry about it. Allah got something for all of us, no matter where we are in life.
I love it. I love it. Praise be to Allah. And I just want to say thank you for joining us today. And thank you all for joining us today to discuss this amazing topic, the importance of a proper view. And I'm sure after this episode, I know y'all view has changed in the best of ways, right? The importance of a proper view of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. I would also like to thank my amazing audience for joining us today. I truly pray that this episode was informative, valuable, and of course, most importantly, healing to you all. Now, Brother Sultan, I know that last question was heavy for me. However, do you mind please leaving us with some closing remarks?
Of course, of course. Well, I just want to thank you, sister, for having me on. And I think that, the general subject of your show is exactly what we have to have as a people. We have to have healing,
Mm.
and what we have is a man that's written of as a messenger who would rise with healing in his wings, and the healing is in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The minister said, you open up a book, it's like the wings of a bird. And the wings of the messenger of God comes in the knowledge that he brings. The healing is in the knowledge that he brings.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, I'm happy to have the opportunity to share some of the healing of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I just want to encourage everyone who was able to tune in, young and old, to take advantage of the man of God in our midst today. Look at all that's going on in the world and recognize the seriousness of the time. There's no better time than right now than to heed right guidance. And you have brothers like myself, sisters like Sister Angelica, who are happy to share the word and the teachings. It's healing to me to have a
Mm.
chance to share with others. And
Yeah.
I get joy from knowing that God is offering us something, and I just got a chance to be a messenger to just pass it along
Mm.
and see other people's lives made better. So, all of those who would listen, this hour right now that we are in is no greater time to be alive, but it's a very serious hour, and we must heed the man of God in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It saved my life, it saved my sister's life, and so many lives, and it will save all who will take heed to the final call.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much, Student Minister Sultan. I really, really appreciate you for joining us today, diving deep on such an important topic, something that can never be exhausted, right? Um, and just so grateful to have you and thankful to have you in the role that you're in. Allah and the minister knew, who to choose for that role. So praise
Praise
be to
And thank you, my sister, for your spirit and your desire to put the word out there and to lift up the program. That's an admirable thing. I just want to encourage you to keep on going, no matter what any naysayers got to say or any difficulties you run into. Keep putting the word out there. I know the minister is proud, and Allah is proud.
Praise be to Allah. Well, again, I want to thank you and thank you, audience, for joining us today. My healing tribe, I love you all, and we leave you all as we came. Assalamu alaikum, peace, healing, and light.